Hey, it's Dr. Rachel, and if you're a dentist, pharmacist, or physician spending 60 hours a week in clinic, wondering how other docs are cutting their hours in half using luxury rentals, well, this episode is for you. It is about to blow your mind wide open because Dr. Sarah went from fixing teeth to designing six-figure Airbnbs. And she just revealed the exact design psychology that gets properties booked at premium rates. Plus, she's dropping truth bombs about why our DIY Pinterest boards are actually costing us thousands. The first tip alone saved her clients $10,000. Let's go ahead and dive in to the interview right now. Dr. Sarah, welcome to the show. Give us a 30-second elevator pitch about who you are and what Archer STR Design Services is all about.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Sarah. Thank you, Dr. Rachel, for the intro. I am a dentist and I also own, operate, and design short-term rentals, and I help other people design their short-term rentals as well so they can get the bookings and the revenue that they're looking for.
Okay, so take us back to the moment when you realized that, you know what, that dental chair wasn't your forever home. What was that breaking point?
Okay, I think I kind of have a not a complicated story, but like the opposite story, like as everybody else. Everyone, I think, not everybody, but most people are trying to escape their 9 to 5. I love my 9 to 5. I love being a dentist. But my thing was, I want to do dentistry my way. I don't want to follow anybody else's rules and how they think they should be done. And when I graduated from dental school and I got into the real world, I realized that unfortunately, a lot of healthcare professions, we have to deal with insurances, and unfortunately, they don't get paid a lot. So you have to, in many cases, it's so hard to say because it's very upsetting for me because I do love and respect the profession. You need to just produce to make money. So I I started off dental school, and throughout dental school, I always said, like, if I could do dentistry for free, I really would. That's how much I love it. But when I got into the real world, I found out that I was working for unethical people. They just wanted me to produce just to produce and overtreat people so I can meet a quota. I don't think healthcare should be part of a quota. And really, the turning point for me was when I got pregnant with my son. I decided to, well, actually, when I got pregnant with my son, I was still working. And when I had him, I was still working. And I remember coming home one day at like 7 o'clock. I gave him dinner, put him to sleep, and he's like 3 months old at the time when I went back to work. And I'm just like, I don't want to spend 2 hours of my day with my son. I decided to have this child. I want to take care of him. I want to be his mom. I want to give him all the love and attention and care that he needs. I do I do love my career, but I didn't love the avenue that I was going in with the people that I was working for. So, I like I was saying, I came home one day and I'm like I'm taking care of all these people all day, every day, and my poor baby, 3 months old, is with a stranger at daycare, and I see him for 2 hours of the day, an hour in the morning when he wakes up, and an hour at night before he goes to sleep. And that's just not the kind of lifestyle I wanted to have anymore. So I started exploring short-term rentals because it was really, yeah, it was really the only thing that I knew at the time that could supplement my income from dentistry. We had done long-term rentals before, we had done multifamily and syndications, but that money you don't see for a very long time. You just have to wait for the properties to appreciate. But I knew with short-term rentals,
You needed that
as
right
long
now
as
money, right?
I needed that right now. Money now is better than money later.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And that is the
Yes.
perspective I think, Dr. Sarah, some people, they don't understand that, yes, real estate investing, there are so many wonderful avenues, but where are
Yes.
you right now on your personalized journey? Depending on where you're at, you
Hmm.
can't necessarily follow the crowd. If you're looking for money right now to spend that extra time with your precious newborn baby, a
Hmm.
syndication may not be the play for you right now. That's future pacing, right?
Right, exactly. So I did so much research. I joined a bunch of masterminds. I tried to learn as much about it as I could. And when I launched our first short-term rental and then our second, I found that, hey, like I'm actually like really good at this. And I started helping other people for free. So I'm like, you know what? Like I think I'm gonna make this into my side hustle, my business. I don't want to leave dentistry completely, but eventually I do want my short-term rental portfolio to fund the kind of dentistry that I want to do
So that you can practice on your own terms. You can create,
on my own
yes.
terms, on my own time.
Okay, so let's talk about it. What are your own terms? How does life look like for you right now?
So right now we're growing our family. So I have a 2-year-old and hopefully we'll have another one coming soon. So my plan right now is to build this business and just enjoy my time with my family and my babies. And once they're off to school or a little older, I will hopefully have developed a short-term rental portfolio that can fund me. Well, I never wanted to take out more loans. And I mean, if I want to buy a dental practice, it's like $1 million loan. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just rent a chair and I have a few patients a day. I give them all my care and all my attention. And that is the way that I want to practice dentistry. I don't want to be running around like a chicken with no head from chair to chair to chair. Just be like, oh, yeah, you need a filling, you need a root canal. When, the matter of fact is they don't need any of that stuff.
So for you, what are your hours? Are you still working full time, overtime right now?
Yes. So right now I'm working part-time. I still want to maintain that skill,
Okay, so
but
you're working
the
part
rest
time
of my
now.
days, yes,
Okay,
yes,
so that's
yes,
huge. And
yes.
so that was because of you dipping your toe into short term rentals and the opportunities that it opened for
Exactly.
you. That's amazing.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
My goal is to get invest in a bigger home just to create more revenue and I don't want to be a like I think a lot of people want to be like co-host or have this like massive portfolio. I just want to make enough that will supplement my income and I can travel freely, spend time with my family, and just, enjoy the little things.
Oh, I love that. And that falls in line with our two-door strategy. That's what we talk about. I say two doors can change your whole life. Two really nice
Yes,
properties.
100%.
Do you agree with that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, two well-positioned properties. It takes the edge off, right? I'm not saying you're going
Mm-hmm.
to be able to buy a Lamborghini or anything like that, but
Right.
with two doors, you can actually cut back from maybe 80 hours a week down to 40 hours a week, or maybe 40 hours a week down to
Mm-hmm.
20 hours a week. It's like two well-positioned properties in the right markets that are designed
Yes.
very well. It can change your whole life. It changed our whole lives. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
if you go to twodoors.com, twodoorprofits.com, twodoordocs.com, I truly believe that less is more. We don't need dozens of properties. We don't need a
A
hundred
hundred
doors.
percent.
Yeah,
That's another job. That's a whole nother
it
job.
sure
And
is.
that's actually like a more time-consuming job, being a landlord 24/7.
It sure is. It sure is. So I want to actually explore with you a little bit of the self-limiting beliefs that some of our docs have, right? Where they think to themselves, you know what? I need to stay in my lane. You know what? I'm only a
Hmm.
doctor. Who am I to think that I can invest in real estate? Let me ask you, what was
Yeah.
your identity shift that made you feel like, you know what? I can have a side hustle like this. I can make a pivot like
Hmm.
this.
I think for me, well, I grew up in a very traditional Arab Middle Eastern family where you either have to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. But in my family, you have to be a doctor.
Yes.
The other two don't even
Yes.
count. So my entire life, and thank God I actually like dentistry,
Hmm.
my parents raised me to like your self-value, your self-worth, our
Mm,
honor comes from our children becoming
yeah.
doctors. My brother became a doctor, I became one. But along the lines, I had to ask myself, is this the life that I want to live?
Mm,
Like not spending time with my kids and taking hopefully 2 weeks vacation out of the year. Like the world is so big and beautiful. And like you don't know what you don't
yeah.
know. And if you're never able to explore that part of yourself and that part of the world, you'll just be stuck in a bubble thinking that, what you're doing is the right path when you could just tap into so much more of the potential that you do have. So we're multifaceted people. We're not just doctors, we're not just moms, we're not just, whatever it is. You have, I mean, my dad told me this growing up. There's nobody better than you at something. They just put in more work. God gave us, if you don't have like a disability, God gave us all the same brain, the same time, the same hours in the day. You just have to pick up a book, listen to a podcast, be a resourceful person to learn the things that you need.
Love that. Love that. So, speaking of the evolution of things, right? And I come from an immigrant
Hmm.
background as well. So, can you imagine? I waited over a year to tell my parents that I walked away from healthcare because I was scared,
I can't imagine that actually.
right?
Because my parents call me sometimes. They're like, "What are you doing picking out furniture online? Like, you should just be in the clinic."
Exactly, because that's the pride and joy. You're right. The honor comes from
Yes.
that. So I think it's just really uncanny. So that evolution for me was a mindset thing as well,
Hmm.
to evolve from Dr. Rachel to now semi clear real estate investor. Like, what am I doing out here for in short term
Yes.
rentals? To now having built a portfolio to help others. So let's talk a little bit about you. So you have evolved from dentist
Hmm.
to STR owner, now to
Hmm.
STR designer. Walk us
Hmm.
through that progression and how your design sets you apart from other designers.
Yes. So I think the biggest thing when someone invests so much money into a property, it's not like, when Airbnb and Verbo first started out, you just put a bed together and a couch and a couple chairs and you'd be like, oh, hey, I'm listing my property on Airbnb. People are really looking for an
Yeah.
experience, especially you have to remember the American public has, unfortunately, we're not like other countries. We work A lot of people work 60 hours a week, not just 40 hours a week. So when they take that time off,
Yes.
they are looking to be completely wowed and your property needs to stand out. So when you do invest so much money, you really need to do your research. I do my research on all of the comps in the area. We have to study guest psychology. Why are people coming to the area? What are they looking for? Is it families? What's the avatar of the person that's coming? So if it's mostly like bachelorette trips, then we're not going to have like a foosball table and a ping pong table there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll have like some cute vanities and maybe like a photo booth that would be super cool. But you really have to understand your market and why people are coming to this market to be able to get that revenue that you're looking for.
Love that. So, can you walk us through like a real world example of a property
Hmm.
transformation that you've designed so that our listeners could really like
Yes.
lean into the work that you create?
Definitely. So I just wrapped up a
Oh,
project in Phoenix, Arizona, and this was like a man's den project.
okay.
It was not only like my client wanted something like this, but looking at the market, you can see it's right next to a golf course. So the people that are coming to this home it's mostly guys trips. So we have a bunch of amenities for guys. We have the shuffleboard, we have foosball table, we have a ping pong table, we have a massive poker table. We have all of these different things that men are looking for when they do go on these boys trips or bachelor parties.
I love that. I love that. And for those types of properties, I imagine that it would stand out compared to what else is happening in the market.
Absolutely. So we do all of our research beforehand. Every single design is not just aesthetic, it's research driven. So everything that we're putting in there is for a purpose, not just because it looks nice.
Okay, so for that burnt out medical professional right now thinking to themselves, you know what? I'm here scrolling through Zillow. I want to take advantage
Hmm.
of these tax breaks. I'm on my lunch break. I got to be really
Hmm.
quick. And I want to
Yeah.
purchase a property this year, but I'm worried about the ability to put in the time to set it up. What would your
Hmm.
prescription be for them to make that leap into real estate and working with a designer like you?
Hmm. I think short-term rentals is really our biggest avenue for tax breaks. We now have 100% depreciation, which is
Yes.
amazing. So doctors who have they're high income professionals, so when they are looking into something like this, they obviously they need to make sure all of their finances are in order. So am I able to float a second mortgage along with my mortgage or my rent, whatever it is? And if they don't have the time to invest in doing all of this on their own, because more than likely they won't have the time. Like I said, like they're working, some of these guys are working 60, 80-hour weeks, they're working on the weekends, they have families, they have a lot of responsibilities. I'm always of the mindset where I pay for knowledge. So perhaps it's not just, jumping to, oh, let me find a designer. Perhaps it's, let me join the right mastermind that will give me all of the resources that I need. Because it's going to take, even if it's, relatively expensive, it's an investment rather than, like you're investing rather than wasting money trying to figure it all out on your
Yeah.
own.
And a lot of that is tax
Like
deductible as well, right?
that too.
Absolutely.
So pay for knowledge. It prevents lots of mistakes and a lot of lost cash.
Okay, so speaking of mistakes, let's talk about that. And guys, I did not pay her to say join a mastermind. If you're curious,
I didn't.
I happen to have one. So let's connect. Let's connect for sure. So let's talk about DIY because I come from that DIY background. I will tell you, as a
Hmm.
pharmacist by training, we know how to DIY our lives away. We create recipes, we compound pills,
Hmm.
we will DIY our lives away. In my first property, it was definitely a DIY. And I, like
Yes.
you, I was like, wow, I kind of like this design. I'm kind of good at it. However, working
Hmm.
a full time job, though, it is a lot of work. Like, I felt like my
Hmm.
hair follicles were hurting so much work. Like,
Yes.
taking down these
Yes.
boxes and
I had eye twitches in the middle of doing extractions. It was not
it
safe.
was
Let
not
me tell you.
It's a lot. And nobody talks about the trash, right? The amount of boxes in the trash. So, what would
Yes.
you say is the worst DIY attempt that you have seen or maybe you've had to fix from someone who thought that Pinterest and YouTube was going to save their lives and they ended up not
Oh my
getting the
gosh.
reviews that they expected?
I think people go on Pinterest and they go on these Instagram pages for like
Right.
inspiration, but then they go on Amazon to buy all of these
Right.
things, and like the stuff comes cracked, it comes ripped, and like you think you're buying this beautiful, glamorous, massive painting that will cover the entire entryway. It turns out to be this little 12 by 12. Like, it is a science.
It
It's
is.
it's the science.
Oh, I saw
And
it.
if you can't study the science, pay someone to do it
Oh,
because it's a lot less headache and it will make you enjoy the experience more.
totally. Side note, I saw on social there is a man who thought he was purchasing a drill set from Temu. I don't know if you saw it. They were $40.
No, but I know where this is
It was a
going.
printout
Yes.
$40. And so that reminds me of what you just said because honestly, and it's not that some of the stuff is misleading, but not necessarily because I will tell you when we first started off, we were buying those Amazon sheets. They had 87,000 five-star reviews, but you learn quickly
Mm-hmm.
that residential sheets versus hospitality sheets are different because with hospitality,
Yes.
we're going to be washing those sheets every other
Mm-hmm.
day versus okay in my home I'll wash my sheets once a week, once every 2 weeks, right? So I was like, well, how
Right.
did this get so many stars? This is terrible, they're liars. Not necessarily. So hospitality is a whole different ball game. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it, go
Mhm.
ahead, Dr. Sarah.
Well, I was just gonna say, when you were talking about the trash, I just remembered this. When we set up our first short-term rental, we did have a handyman that, did a lot of the work for us. But so we came in, it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Great market, by the way, for anybody curious. That was our first one, and it's the most successful one, I will say. And not that much
Because
competition.
you're out
But
of state, by the way, so she has her first
yes,
property that is out of state, so note to self, it's
yes.
possible.
It's definitely possible. You could do anything over FaceTime.
Yeah, love that.
So we went to the property and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty much almost done." We went to the property with our 4-month-old son at the time. It was a construction site. I
Mm.
was having to like walk over boxes and like parkour over like certain types of furniture, trying to keep my 4-month-old from eating screws. So definitely pay for a service so you don't hate what you're doing because you'll just go back home and be like, I'm just going to go back to the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need to find a way out
Yes.
or find a way to get yourself less hours
Yes.
to do more of what you want to do.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So this brings me to the next question because you know what? My social media team says I need to keep these interviews a little bit spicy. So you said that you
Okay,
walked in, it was like a construction zone. Any high
right.
stress professional might walk in and they feel like they're dropping a serious amount of money on design and they're
Mm-hmm.
looking like, oh my gosh, this handyman has just destroyed my space. So question for you, have you encountered some of those client behaviors where they're stressed out and now they're taking it
Mm-hmm.
out on you as the designer, and
Yes.
how have you fired a client, how have you managed that?
Um, well, I'm, you know, uh, I have had very difficult clients,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think so clients, they know they need an accountant because they're not a CPA, they're a doctor. They know they need a lender. Um, but sometimes in the back of their heads, they're like, "Oh, you know what? I could
I
do
could
this.
DIY it.
Why am
Yeah.
why I could just DIY
Mm-hmm.
this all day." But you you can't. So I think they don't see the value in it until afterwards. So they are spending so much money and
Yes.
time,
Yes.
and those two things are just very big stressors. So if they're feeling anxious about a renovation or an investment, that stress gets projected onto the designer, and we're the most accessible people in the process because I'm very communicative with my clients, so I become the target.
Mm.
And so I also think the other thing is power dynamics. So some
Mm.
clients, especially those that are not used to like creative collaboration, they see the designer as someone that they just hired instead of a partner. And that could lead to very dismissing or a dismissive or controlling behavior if things don't go their way, because you have to remember the designer is the one who understands the guest psychology, and based on the research that they've done, that these are the things that need to be in your home. You might not necessarily agree, but those are just the necessities that you need. So um I don't think they mean to be rude. I just think it's a mix of like miscommunication, stress, and a lack of understanding of the creative process. And I also think maybe a lot of healthcare professionals, like we were saying, I come from a Middle Eastern background. You have to become a doctor, and a lot of your self-worth and your ego comes from that. So sometimes, that ego projects onto other people, unfortunately. But I think what I've learned, just the most important thing is just to set clear boundaries and communicate everything up front and then educate clients along the way. And it helps build mutual respect and trust.
I love that. I love that. So let's talk about it for a few moments. Tell us how clients can work with you. What does that work?
Yeah. So if you have a property that you found, the first thing that we'll do is everything is research driven. Like I was saying, we don't just put stuff in because they look pretty. So we will look at your market, we will understand who your avatar is and why they are coming to your area, and then we'll look at all of your comps in the area. You don't want to be in a market where you have absolutely no competition, because that might mean that the market doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you do want to have a little healthy competition. It's always good because you get a lot of inspiration from them, and it allows you to be to one up that person or that property. So that's the second thing, is we go through your comps, and then we talk about your budget. So, what are you looking to spend? Obviously, we want to pack the house with as many amenities as we possibly can to attract the guests, to pick your property over somebody else's. But we also have to be mindful of your budget. Like, we're not here picking out stuff from CB2 and West Elm. At the end of the day, it's an investment. So you don't want to put so much cash up front just because you think, like, you heard this brand is great quality, when really a lot of them are just white labeled coming from the same factory in China. So research, budget, and then just a clear understanding at the end of it of how you should communicate with your guests. So we help you with all of that. We help you set up your tech. We'll help you set up your automated messaging as well. We'll coordinate the photographer for you, because we want you to be the best host that you possibly can. And that not only comes from design, but also from hospitality.
Okay, so that sounds great, Dr. Sarah. So tell the people, how can they connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram at Archer STR Design. I have a bunch of tips on there that hopefully you can find value from, and just a bunch of free resources that you can use for your own property as well, if you do decide to DIY.
Amazing. And we'll add that link to our show notes as well as all of your contact information as well. Any final words for the people, Dr. Sarah?
Yes, you're not just a doctor. You are also a world traveler. You're a husband, you're a son, wife, whatever it is. You have the ability to enjoy life to the fullest. You just have to be able to find the resources that you need to have the lifestyle that you want. But it's not impossible.
Dr. Sarah, thank you so much for blessing us with all of these amazing gems. Y'all, did you catch that transformation? This woman went from fixing teeth to fixing up properties and designing spaces that make bank. That is what I call a complete glow up. I'm Dr. Rachel Gainsborough, and this has been the Luxury Rental Doctor Show, keeping your profits healthy and your spirits wealthy. Until next time, remember this: you didn't spend all those years becoming a doctor just to have an amateur looking rental that makes amateur money. So stop DIYing your destiny and start designing your wealth with the pros. See you next time.